If you want to stay in the same situation, then continue doing what you're doing.
And you guys can get on board and go down this 4-lane highway and just rock it out, and you don't have to have a decade of learning process.
Meet people where they are. If you want to have all types of clients, be a Rubik's Cube. Meet them where they want to be met.
We have to know our numbers. We have to know how much we want, and then how many deals do I have to close to make that a reality?
What I want to do over the next half hour or so is give you clarity on the items that really are going to generate money for you and allow you to do the things you want to do.
So if you're not currently being coached by the people in the industry that are doing it at the highest level, then you're working too hard to get there.
This is the Next Level Loan Officers Podcast with Kenneth Travis and Sean Zalmanoff.
Welcome to Next Level Loan Officers. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm with my partners in crime, Sean Zalmanoff, and the handsome, incredible, amazing, soft-spoken, intelligent, man cake, Kellen Vaughn. What's up, gentlemen?
Man cake. I like that.
Like that?
Man cake.
Yeah, it's just, I always hear it, so I don't remember.
Yeah, well, like break me off a piece of that.
Oh, man.
I'm about Googling that, but
You're looking very good today, KT. I like that shirt.
Right. You got the little trademark mortgage representation going on today.
That's right. I'm repping Southwest Funding today.
There you go.
They're good partners of ours. We love those guys.
That's it.
You know, you'll never find a better company with more integrity and just good people, man.
Well, I was going to say competitive.
Do you know anybody that's good that works there?
No, none.
No.
I hear things. And competitively priced. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for being here today. I do have a couple things I want to start off with if you guys are good with that.
Rock and roll.
One being, the first thing is Sean, did they sell men's shirts where you bought that one?
You know, when I was pulling this shirt out of my closet, I was looking and I'm like, we're going to record on air today. I was like, I'm going to pick a shirt that I know KT's going to say something about. I knew these flowers were going to make you say something.
Man, it takes a real man to pull that off, Sean.
Oh, man. What's up, Danica? Danica's listening in with us today. And hey, listen, if you got any questions during the call, during this session, just put them in the comments here below. We'll be sharing those on this in the next hour. One of the things I want to talk about today, guys, and I wanted to, and Kellen, I think you and I spoke about this not long ago. And it's curiosity is as important as intelligence, right? Because like at the end of the day, and I'll explain how this relates to our business here shortly, but like at the end of the day, like you're born with an IQ, right? And like it's hard to improve an IQ. It's like either you've got it or you don't, right? So it's like, you know, Sean, have you ever been in a room where you weren't the smartest person in the room?
Right now.
I try to put myself in that position every day, but it's hard sometimes with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great response. I love it. But you know what? And I always try to put I don't like to be the smartest guy in the room, right? But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I graduated high school. I didn't quite finish college. I have 190 something hours. I could put it all together. But you know, and I've always thought of myself as just kind of not the smartest guy, right? I'm not the most intelligent guy when it comes to solving problems. And you know, the IQ, you know, that's what it is. It's an intelligence quotient type. Like it's like how well you are at like solving a mathematical skill, right? Let's just face it. Some people have a high IQ and they can solve problems. They can think a little deeper than what most people can, right? Than what a lot of people can. And people have different levels of it. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sean's like, man, I'm so much smarter than KT.
Yeah.
But I also know a lot of people that have graduated with PhDs, have high IQs, and they've done okay in life, right? But I've also met some really unintelligent people that are very successful in life. Do y'all know anybody in your sphere of influence that just like, man, that dude was successful. He's really not that smart of a guy.
I mean, come on. Everybody knows a loan officer.
Yes.
That guy in your market and you're like, how the heck is
Right.
that person doing as well as they're doing? And it's because it's not all about IQ, and there's a lot more to life and being rounded. And I'm sure that's where you're about to head with this, huh?
Yeah. Well, because to me, it's such a great conversation to have, because so many loan officers out there have this story in their head, or this belief or thought or emotion that they're not smart enough, right? And I want to share two more intelligence, or two more ways. And just to be real, you can actually read this. So this was an article that the Harvard Business School had actually done.
You read this?
Yes, I read it. Yeah, I read. And so, yes, I read. So I read this study, and I just thought it was so interesting. I thought, man, what an amazing, and it really told me a lot about myself, right? Because I knew that, I had this passion and drive and this ability to figure things out, and to implement, and to engage, and to be curious, right? And so there's two other things that we use in a study that was done that people should consider when measuring their intelligence. So there's this other thing called an EQ. It's an emotional intelligence, right? It's emotionally being able to work under stressful, little anxiety, kind of just can read people really well, know emotionally where that person is when they're communicating with them, or when they're executing something in their life, right? And I've always found myself to be a pretty decent, emotional, intelligent person. And that's just a key ingredient to like interpersonal communication skills. I don't know, I took interpersonal communications in college. I thought it was one of my most interesting classes that I ever took, really got into it. And just think that having an emotional intelligence IQ will help you navigate through life a lot simpler, right? That other people don't pick up on, right? And this stuff is impactful when we do business. And then the third one, being like the most important, is the CQ, okay? And the C stands for curiosity, right? And it goes back to what I said. This could be a great title for this. Is curiosity. I wrote this down. Curiosity is as important as intelligence. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room to be curious, and to ask questions, and to push, and to have a hungry mind to gather information and to implement information. You know what I'm saying? Like we always say, like passion and drive, well, it's really having a hungry mind to be able to say, man, I'm going to figure this out. And I'm going through some things in my life right now. Kellen, you know this, some other things I'm doing outside the mortgage industry that I've been passionate about and curious. And I've had this hungry mind, and I don't know all the answers, but I'm like, man, by God, I'm going to figure it out. Right? Sure. I know I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I never want to be. And I know that my IQ isn't as high. Like Kellen's someone I regard as a person with a very high IQ. Like, whether that's true or not, Kellen, like that's how. Like,
the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Ken. Appreciate that.
But Kellen has this ability to think like and problem solve like way down the road, where I'm more of like what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And Sean's IQ is so low that I don't even know. No, I'm just kidding. Sean's actually the same way. Sean has a very high IQ, and he's a very good problem solver as well. And so like, I just think that this relates, guys, in our business sometimes with a lot of loan officers out there. They just have a fear of not being good or smart enough. Like all I say is like the Q, the CQ, like be curious in your business. Yeah. Have a hungry mind. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I share something? I just want to interject because I think what you're saying, and I love this topic because it makes a ton of sense. And I was just having this conversation with a loan officer about a week ago. So I appreciate what you said, Ken. The truth is that I have always, I've never felt like the smartest guy by any means. I frankly struggled through school for most of my life until I got kind of something I was interested in. But one thing I've always been is a bit of a problem solver. And I think that and I've never heard that curiosity thing until you mentioned it. So that makes a ton of sense. And some of you don't know. So when I got into the mortgage business, I came out of a 7-year consulting career, thought the mortgage business would be the greatest thing ever. I was right. So jumped into the mortgage business, and I just went and opened a broker shop. I didn't go work for somebody else. And in hindsight, it probably would have been easier to do it that way, but I wasn't even smart enough to know to go do that. I just said, well, I'll just go open my own broker shop and just figure it out as I go. Right. And one of the things that I did, because I didn't ever want to feel dumb when I was talking to a customer, was I literally bought guideline books, the MRI books. If you old school folks remember those old guideline books, and I would literally read them at night, like just absorbing the information. So when a question came up about income or about something else, I knew the answer because I had read that. And I was telling this to a loan officer who's fairly new to the business. I said, do yourself a favor. If they still sell these books, go buy them and just read. There is just know your craft. Listen, if you're going to be a professional and you're going to make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, which is not that hard to do in the mortgage business, know what the hell you're talking about, right? Yeah. Don't rely on others and secondhand information and a Facebook group to figure out how to calculate income. Go understand it. Be a professional in your craft. And I think that that's so true. And it goes such a long way in developing people and for them to feel that confidence, to go out and produce. So I think that's awesome, man. I love that.
Tyler made a quick comment here. He says, man, I love that. Curiosity is a huge success factor. And I would agree. But man, Tyler, I also wrote a note here. It says that CQ is the ultimate tool to produce simple solutions for complex problems. Mm-hmm. Because man, when you might be limited on the IQ part, it's like, okay, let me simplify this for me and for average people, or have a solution in my business. Or it even goes emotion. It can also go from a mindset perspective. You know what I mean? Like it can just easily, being curious can just very quickly reset your mind. So to having the confidence that you need to be able to push forward powerfully in your business. So I love that, man. I love that.
Hey, we were just talking in Peak Performers the other day, another elements of our coaching group here. And, sometimes we make things so difficult on ourselves. And the question that I pose to everybody is like, as we're working through some of the things that we are in that group, is like, just ask yourself before you get into it, what if it was easy?
Right.
Like, because we go with this predetermined, well, just because I want to make $250,000, it's got to be hard.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be hard. Like we make that so much harder on ourselves. And the other thing that I really love about the curiosity quotient that you're bringing up here is look at how many, students across the globe how many countries test so much higher than we do in the United States. But where do every single one of them want to go to college? It's because they have spent so much time being book smart that, whether it's been suppressed in their DNA or it's not there anymore, like they don't have that curiosity side. They can't create like we can in many instances.
Yeah. How many people do we know with PhDs or degrees that are unemployed or broke?
Yeah. Well, I was reading an article recently that just come out about, and I'm sure it was in a Harvard magazine or something that I get.
Yale. It was Yale.
That I subscribe to and get regularly at my house. And it was doctors' salaries. So it was every doctoral specialty, I guess, and their average salaries annually.
You sent that to me because I read the same thing.
Okay. So I was blown away. And I know, listen, this is a safe place, and we talk about how much money, we make and we earn. And whether you're new to the business and you make $50,000 or you're Tyler Hodgson and you make $600,000 a year.
It's $1 million. It's $1 million.
It's $1 million. Okay. I know it's up there. It doesn't matter. We're all in the same river. Maybe we're just at different places on the river. My point is that this is a business where you don't have to go to medical school and residency and intern year and all that for 12 years. And I can tell you that personally, I made more money than 70% of the doctors listed on that list in 2018, and I'll probably outpace most in 2019. I mean, I'm not, it's not a brag. It's a reality that you can make good money and not have to, you don't have to. So again, that's the book smart versus the curiosity versus that quality that gives you the ability to go out and talk to somebody and get them to do business with you and earn that commission. And that's where, that's where it gets really.
Hey man, you don't have to be stressed out about doing brain surgery, because
right.
Like, I got to cut this brain open and operate on it. Like, I'm out, Jack. Like, I will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's a great topic, man. That's cool. I love that. I had not heard that on the curiosity thing, but it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
I probably wouldn't score too high on the IQ test, so it makes me feel good that I might be okay on that one.
On the EQ, emotional intelligence, and then the curiosity Q, was curiosity intelligence.
Well, that was a great appetizer to our call here. I know we had a couple of questions that have come in. Is anybody got any questions on the live feed there, Ken? When I'll pull up some of the questions that were emailed into us.
Yeah, we don't have them. Yeah, we've got them. Me and Sean both got them pulled.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'll let you guys go ahead and rattle one off. I know a couple people.
Yeah. So obviously refinances have been a hot topic. It seems like in the real estate. I mean, in the not real estate, in the mortgage world, a lot of loan officers out there, and and we're all doing some refinances. I think we would all agree that we're doing more refinances than we've done in the past. And the question from Alan Christian was best practice to go after database for refinances.
To go after your own database?
Yes, best practice to go after databases for refinances. And I think we can all share. Yeah, I can share what I do, and you guys can share what you do. That's what you want to do.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you kick us off, Ken?
All right. So Alan, so for me, I went into my database and we went in anyone that had a 4.65% or higher rate. And some of my rates are as high as 5.5, 5.75, not uncommon to be able to pull those out. And we extracted
7, 8.
It's not that bad. But we probably had, I think I had 153 on my initial list. And I printed it off. I did make the mistake of sending out a bomb video to all 153. And I had 9 immediately say, yes, I'm interested. And that was a shit show. I would not recommend doing a blast out to all of your people, but it's kind of a steady Eddie type of process. And I felt that after a week of trying to make sure that those 9 were taken care of and my team had actually executed on those and we filtered and we ended up closing 5 of those 9. I just realized, well, I don't want to do it that way again. So there's a couple things going on here for me in my business. And one of them is being, I send out a newsletter every month. My clients get something on top of the newsletter. They get 1 to 2 things mailed to them every single month with third-party systems that I've got in place. And then of course we have quarterly calls and stuff. So there's a lot of things that are scheduled throughout the year. My clients, like, this is the way I look at my database. I have a 16-foot fence around my database. No one's getting in, meaning the competition. Nobody's getting out because I've built this big fence around them. So my clients know who we are. They know our team. They know who Kenneth Travis is. And so it's a real easy for us to send a one-on-one bomb video. So, and or send, they're getting emails and stuff from us anyway. So that's one thing that we do is I'll just sit down. I'll personally knock out 2 or 3 videos to that specific person and send it to them. That works for me the best. Okay, that I feel like that's been probably the most connection that I've had and the bigger results. Now, with that said, I've also got someone on my team who has that same list who's calling ahead of me, right? And reaching out to those clients and kind of seeing if there's any interest, and then they'll just pretty much set that appointment. And so there's 2 trains of thoughts here. Oh my God, Rachel, we got to hurry up and get them in here before someone else refinances them. I don't really have that mentality, right? Because it just, they refinance to somebody else, they refinance to somebody else. My main focus, like my mindset is, I'm going to take care of the realtors and I'm going to take care of all my purchase business first. It's a priority for me. The people that are refinancing are already in the house, they're already living there. It's just not a priority. If I miss them, I miss them, right? That's my mentality. And I don't mean that to be arrogant or ugly or that I don't care about my clients. I have a system in place that's slowly getting to everybody. And the ones that are interested will do it. The ones that aren't, they won't. And that's just the way there is. That's just the way that it is for me. I can tell you this. I was talking to a real estate agent the other day, and she was like, I can't get my lender on the phone. I never get him on the phone, blah, blah, blah. Because I know that lender's wearing out on refinances, right? Well, I was able to get the referral. I'm starting a relationship, and I hope that I've gained a realtor out of that. So I don't know. That's my food for thought when it comes to refinances. Do them, be strategic, put a process in place. Don't make it your only thing, and be cautious, right? And look for the fat deals first. You can personally call or do a bomb video specifically to those people where the deals are fat. Larger loan amounts, higher rates, that has the biggest impact on them and helping them bottom line.
Yeah, that's great. All perfect points. I'll do 2 seconds on mine, and then I'll let Sean, because his is probably a lot cooler than mine. So I agree with you 100%, Ken. You can't cut off your nose to spite your face, right? So you don't want to shift your whole process, procedures, and everything onto refinances and say goodbye to the purchase business, right? It won't serve you well. And, it's funny because it'd been a while since I'd done a refinance, just being honest, until the last maybe 60 days. And they sound so easy, right? Oh, I can take you from a 499 to a 399. It's a no-brainer, right? But the reality is they take up time. You have to sell them sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 times along the way, and then you got to get them closed, right? So they aren't quite the slam dunk that everybody thinks they are. However, for most of you that are listening on here, if you added 1 or even 2 refinances a month to your production, that would be a big needle mover for you. So again, don't give up your purchase business. In fact, right now is a great time, to Ken's point, to go talk to realtors, because a lot of other lenders aren't probably paying as close attention to them as maybe they were. And if you can pick up 1 or 2 along the way and add that to your existing production, that's awesome. My strategy has been really simple. Like Ken, I kind of printed off a list. I sorted it by interest rate to some degree. A lot of the customers, I kind of know a little bit about them. So I was able to kind of maybe go through and highlight some that I know, okay, this one is a fat deal. That one should be primed and ready to go. But I always kind of had Barry's messaging in the back of my head, which was don't only focus on the interest rate, because even in situations where the interest rate maybe is pretty close, there are still strategies in place where you could do a cash out, you could pay off some debt, get that payment down, and still make it a win for everybody. So I tried not to focus entirely on interest rate, but deals where borrowers had put maybe 10 or 15% down, where there was probably a quick win to get them out of PMI. Those are ones I was looking for if they've been in their home for a couple of years. So just a couple of parameters like that. Once I had that list kind of figured out, my strategy was real simple. I went straight for texting. So I would just, from our group, my team texting, my Ring Central account, I just reached out to them directly that way. Hey, Bob, we were reviewing your file. We noticed there might be an opportunity for a refinance. Is this something that you would be interested in? Question mark.
Yeah,
personal. Yeah. And honestly, I got responses back from 100% of the people we connected with. And I bet 80% of them indicated that they were interested, and then later sent in a most recent mortgage statement for us to do a review. So I really didn't go down the path of bomb or email or phone calls, because I was batting, perfect with just the text message. And one thing I've learned is keep it simple, stupid. If it's working, just go with that, right? And so that was the strategy that we used. Again, nothing crazy, just systematic. I will say I did them in small batches. I had heard Ken and his 125 bomb messages or whatever that he sent out. And so I kind of learned that lesson. So bite-sized chunks, knocked them out, got them in the door.
Hey, and I'll ask you this, and I don't know, Sean and Kellen, if you guys deal with this, but like a lot of the clients that I've even closed, 6 to 18 months ago, especially a lot of government business, they can't refinance. You ever notice, like, they can't refinance because, at least not with me, it's hard without having to come out of pocket with some money.
Yeah.
Do you see any of that in your marketplace? Because like if you buy a house for $175,000, right? You did an FHA loan, put 3.5% down. Even when I structure that deal, even if I can structure it where they skip 2 months payments and still going to get a refund on their escrow account, I can roll all that money in, right? But I might be $2,000 or $3,000 off on the appraisal, right? Because the house is like, I live in an environment or a community where you buy a house at 175, it's going to be worth 175 for about 5 years, Right. But like if you're in California or Florida or Arizona or some of these other markets where, 3 or 4 months, the property value can go up 50,000, Yeah. So like you have to also really, I think it's just important to know genuinely, like just be honest about it. Like I'm in a marketplace where it might be hard to do refinances for a certain group of people,
Sure.
past clients. And sometimes
Deliverance, Texas, right?
Texas. Man, I tell some of my clients I'm talking to them, they're like, yeah, man, this is what they can do for me. And I was like, well, shoot me over the LE. I look at it and like, yeah, you probably take that deal. Right? Yeah. Just take it, I don't try to chase it. I don't try to beat it. If it's a good deal, like, hey, that's a really good deal. You should do that.
Well, and that's I kind of goes back to my point of it's not all interest rate. So you really have to look at the deal itself. I had a client, one of the deals I looked at, this guy put 85 or 15% down. So 85 LTV. He had some pretty good appreciation in his home, but he was also like, hey, I'm getting a bonus check. And so I've got a little bit extra cash. So if it doesn't quite appraise, I'm willing to put a little money into it to get rid of the MI. Perfect. That's a deal that's going to win, all day long. Lowered his rate. He ended up not having to put any cash in because the deal appraised and he was happy as a clam. So, every situation is a little bit different. Whatever it is, I would say, going back to what Barry taught us, which I thought was just unbelievable. And here's a quick plug. If you haven't gone and watched that, it's in the vault or it's in MSA. Watch it. It's well worth it. But, he really talks about being a debt advisor. And so that's why one of the reasons why I did them in bite-sized chunks, because I wanted to spend some time with these borrowers, really looking at their situation and saying, okay, how can we help? Again, whether it's restructuring some debt or paying it off or just doing a refinance.
So the way that we're looking at everything and the way that everybody has to remember is you got to break things down into buckets of business. So I got my purchase bucket of business. And I've got my refi bucket of business. That's just like the cherry picking, basically any loan that we did of a decent loan size done last November, December, January. Rates were a lot higher and they're just so easy to do. Like those 16 and 17 loans right now, you really have to be that advisor on because there's still some like 3.25% interest rates that we were doing back then. So you got to break it down and attack it systematically. And this is also really where you have to have your business set up to scale. This is where all of us as loan officers have to understand what it's like to be a business owner and why you don't lay off your amazing loan partner in January when it's slow, because they are going to help you get a ton of business when the time's hot, when buying season kicks in, or all of a sudden this refi boom that not a lot of people really saw coming to the extent that it's in front of us right now is happening. So the first thing that we're doing is we're picking the biggest loan amounts with the most recent loans. And we're really talking to people. Something else that Barry's talked about too, and that we're using, whether it's a purchase transaction or it's a refi right now, is I don't want to talk to you just about this loan. I want to talk to you about your next two. And, kind of the script that we're using with them is we're in a global interest rate decline right now. I know that I can save you money on this loan right now, or I know I can help you with this purchase right now. My goal is to make this loan for you as inexpensive as possible because I'm going to refinance you in the next 8 to 24 months. And I want to make sure that you don't have a ton of cost baked into this. There's things going on in the market. There's this really incredible thing called convexity buying, which is making bonds mature faster, which is making people buy more bonds, which is driving rates down. and you just explain a couple of concepts to them that maybe you're a little bit over their head, but you break it down real simple so they know that you're smart, that you're the advisor and you know what you're doing. Yep. And then we give them a couple options. Like, I'm going to give them a rate right now, and I'm going to show them this is what it costs paying a point. This is what it's at par. This is what it looks like when I credit you a point. And in almost every instance, that's the one that I want you to do because I can do your loan for free. And then if I refinance you again in 8 months or 12 months, then, all I did was stair step you down in your rate without any cost. I'm selling nobody on missing a couple payments. I want them all they're not going to miss a payment, and the payment that they do miss, they're going to bring that into close to pay the interest or whatever other costs are on their loan, so I can keep their loan balance almost the exact same on it. And so that's how we're setting it up. And what we're doing is everybody on the team, I'm fortunate enough to have 3 amazing people that work with me on my team. So everybody's taking a couple people a day, making a few phone calls, connecting, it's hit or miss, but then going into MBS Highways, going into Mortgage Coach, recording the video, setting it up. Again, here's what it's paying a point. Here's par. Here's what it is when we credit you a point. Here's why you should do this one. Give them some of that terminology and verbiage, and then sending that right out to them. It's manageable. We can follow up. And if we can't get a hold of them, I can send them a very personalized video of why they should do this now.
That's great.
I had somebody send me a rate over the weekend, and it was, rates have gotten a little bit worse then, but they're like, look, Bank of America's offered 3.375. And you can tell by the APR, but Bank of America was charging a point to get that rate. And it was a buddy of mine. So actually I called him Saturday morning and I was like, dude, you don't want this. And you actually don't even want this rate. You want to take this rate where I credit you a point. He's got to, as far as my world's concerned, it's $400,000. It's a huge loan amount. Look, because we're going to refinance you again, and you're going to save 3/4 of a point in your rate. So it's just really knowing your market and being able to, it's, most of us have bought diamonds for somebody in our life. And like during the 30 days when you buy a diamond, you go from knowing nothing to being like the smartest diamond buyer. And then 6 months after that, you don't know anything about it. So my goal in that 15 minutes on the phone, I want to educate them enough to know more about bonds and mortgage markets than anybody else does. And then I just want them to forget it all. So they got to call me again later.
That's right. And that's so true about a number of things. Like
you bought me that diamond. Sean bought me this diamond.
Good man, Sean. But we become those experts, temporary experts, right, on whatever it is that has us interested at the moment. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And some great scripting there to leverage, so to get some additional refis. I'm going to steal some of that.
So we had some other questions here. Next one was steps to efficiently handle volume.
Be ready.
Yeah. Work harder and longer.
No, this is just the thing where if your capacity with your team's 15 loans and you're at 10, you need to start looking at hiring that other person, because I'm planning for that future success.
Yeah. I agree with that, Sean, although I will say, I think the longer I've been in this business, I've become probably a little bit more bearish on hiring, quote, ahead of the volume to some degree. So I think for a long time, I used to hire, well ahead and make sure I was planned. And I kind of started looking at some of the economics of our deal. And I've shared this on my coaching calls before, but really you guys have to look at a rolling 12 months of your business. And so if you look at my office let's take the summer busy months out of it. And my office probably runs at about 80% capacity, maybe 75 to 80% capacity, which is a good place to be. We're busy, but we're not pulling our hair out. Now, there are a couple of months during the summer, August was a big one, July was a big one, where we probably run at 100, 105%. And it's serious. The problem is that if I in April had hired a new person, now we're typically running all at 60, and in the peak time we're all at 90, right? You kind of see how that stair steps down. So the problem is I lose a little bit of that efficiency. So I think it's okay to run my people at 100 to 105% temporary, a month or two, and then taper it back down. So just think about that. And that was a real eye opener for me, because I think for a long time I built my business where everybody was probably running at 60% year round, and it was not as profitable as it could have been the other way. So don't be afraid to ask people to work. Work hard, play hard, right? So we're going to do some fun things for our team this month to kind of reward them for all the hard work they've done over the last 2 months. We've brought in a massage group last month to give in-office massages to everybody. I've got a car detailer guy that's coming by to detail everybody's cars while they're here at work. So we're going to do some stuff to help out, but I didn't go hire anybody else. Everybody just stepped up their game, leveled up, worked a little bit harder, worked a little bit longer, and we got through it. Now, if that growth was going to be permanent, then yeah, I would bring somebody else in to kind of take that edge off. But that's just my 2 cents. I agree with you. You want to stay ahead of it, but not too far ahead of it to make sure you keep your P&L happy.
Kellen, the problem I see with too many teams is they don't run it like you do. It's like, running during those slower months at that 60, 70% capacity enables people to perform it. I mean, we've had some people that they're at 120, 130% capacity, and, they're working some 10-hour overtime weeks, week in and week out right now because of the volume and because, we're here to accept it and put it in, and, they want to serve their loan officers in order to do that. But what happens too much is that you ask your team to run at 100%.
Yeah.
And then the busy time kicks in.
Right.
So that's what you need to be prepared for, to have that business dialed in. So, to have that reserve tank that they can count on and that you can count on when those time happens. And really, man, it's making agreements with them. Yep. Hey guys, this is what I need from you right now. Can you do it? What days can you do it? The overtime's plentiful. Clock all you want. We've got a lot of loans here. I want to make sure that we're set up for success in order to make this happen.
And every team's different, so we give our team some flexibility, when it's slower, they can kind of, they need to leave early or come in late or do some things like that. Like, it's no big deal, but when it comes to loan crushing time, we're all in, and that's just how it goes. So watch the numbers. I think that'll be the big indicator for you.
Well, good stuff. Well, great call today, guys. That's good stuff. It's always good to drink from the same cup of knowledge as you two fine young men. So I'm just getting good at this with you, Kellen, today. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What did you do to him earlier today?
I haven't talked to him all day, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So KV, if somebody, so we've got some next level events coming up for you guys that don't know. For our coaching members listening to this, make sure you get your hotel and your rooms booked. Your hotels and your flights booked if you haven't already. If you're somebody that's listening to this and you want to kind of get plugged in and see what we are about, we have a website. Kellen, what's that website?
loanofficerevents.com. You can go and check that out, and you can see all of our events. So whether you want to come to our event in Fort Lauderdale, which is in October, we'd love to have you there. If you're a West Coaster, we'll be heading to your neck of the woods in February. So click on that. You can go ahead and buy a ticket to that event today and lock in your seat.
Yeah. And we also have a branch manager event coming up that we haven't started necessarily promoting yet. It's kind of still in the works, guys. Like, we're about to launch this thing. It's going to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Exclusive.
Yeah.
It's in a city that nobody likes.
Yeah.
So just on that real quick, Ken, because that's a great point. Let me touch on that. So we are going to have a Branch Manager Academy. We're actually doing it in Las Vegas this year. It's in January, right before kind of everything gets going to help you get planned for the year. But if you're a broker or maybe you're a branch manager that runs your own P&L, you have loan officers, we're going to spend 2 days going through everything. So talking about knowing your numbers, recruiting loan officers, how to build a team, when to hire, when to fire, how to do it, how to bring on the right people. How do you motivate your loan officers? How do you build successful production teams? Technology, what are some of the best leveraging in their business today to become more efficient? And really more important, how do you build, especially for your brokers, how do you build your brand? What does that look like? How do you secure it? How do you grow it and develop it and leverage it to generate more business in the market? We're going to have a ton of one-on-one time. But if you're interested, you can go to loanofficerevents.com, click on that link, and there's more information there regarding that.
Yeah, and don't forget, man, like if you want the app, we have a free app that has all this information in it as well. You can put it on your phone. You can see all that we're doing and just really plug in. Get the free app. It's you just text the word next level to 36260. Text the word next level to 36260. If you're driving, pull over, text that to yourself, add it on your phone, get plugged in. And we'd love to have you. Man, we got so many one products and just different things you can plug into with Next Level. It's not only a high-end coaching group. We help people that aren't to that level yet. And, we don't care where you're at, man. We're here to help you. We're here to advise you. We're here to help you take your business to the next level. And guys, we appreciate you so much. Thank you very much for being here.
See you guys.
See y'all.